This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
Somali pirates attacked a ship flying an American flag off the Somali coast, but they were unable to take control of it. The company that owns the ship said that the ship arrived with damages, but the crew was not injured.
The Somali pirates have promised to avenge the deaths of those killed during the operation to release the American captain. This has raised the number of hijacked ships to 4 in only the past 2 days.
باتت السواحل والمياه الإقليمية الصومالية وما يجاورها من
The shores that join Somali territorial waters with international waters draw more international attention than the wars and destruction that take place on Somali lands. International waters off the Somali coast are crowded with ships from countries that are not necessarily on good terms with Somalia, at least not with their soldiers and naval fleets. Ships from Russia, China, India, Arab and European states, as well as the United States, line up to face pirates equipped with moderate arms.
تصطف هذه السفن على أهبة الاستعداد لمواجهة قراصنة يصطادون سفنا كبيرة بأسلحة.
Somali pirates attacked the American ship, the Liberty, with rocket shells and opened fire after they were able to seize a Greek ship, a ship from Togo, as well as 2 Egyptian fishing boats on Tuesday. Even though Somali pirates were able to inflict damages on the ship, they weren't able to seize it, especially after the ship called for help from the American destroyer. The intensification of piracy is an indication that the pirates have not been deterred by the killing of 5 of their members in different attacks, especially those recently carried out by French and American forces. According to them, intensifying attacks on ships, particularly at any ship flying an American or French flag, is part of open confrontations that are no longer exclusive to hijackings and ransom.
In our view, what France and America have forcefully done is what any state whose ships raise their flags must do. And if these states took similar strong measures, Somali piracy would not have reached the extent that it has today.
ويشكك كثير من الصوماليين بقدرة المواجهة العسكرية.
Many Somalis are doubtful that military confrontations would be capable of deterring the Somali youth, who say they are only fishermen whose fish were looted by Western and Eastern ships from their regional waters, which were transformed into dumping grounds for toxic waste. It seems that only the Somali government will be capable of resolving the situation once and for all, if it is one day able to overcome the problems that exist in Mogadishu and the south. This will mean enforcing control in Puntland, where the pirates are based, which is now known as the Republic of Somalia.
Somali Deputy Prime Minister Abdelrahman Ebi has welcomed the call for dialogue by the head of the Islamic Party. Ebi said that his government has extended its hand for reconciliation with all opposition blocs. Meanwhile, the Somali Islamic Scholars Association has welcomed the move and described it as positive.
Our correspondent in the Somali capital, Omar Mahmoud, reports on the latest developments of the political situation in Somalia.
We would like to invite all concerned Somali groups to join us in a comprehensive conference.
The invitation by Dr. Omar Iman, the head of the Islamic Party, for reconciliation and dialogue with all Somali groups, including the transitional government, seems to be a step in the right direction. This will help bring all rival groups in Somalia to the bargaining table. Since joining forces with the Islamists, the transitional government has repeatedly called for reconciliation with the opposition. The government took steps towards implementing Islamic Sharia laws, a move that was approved by the Somali Council of Ministers. protesters. The transitional government also hinted that it will end its deployment agreement with the African forces, but only after forming a Somali security force that is able to defend the nation and maintain control in the capital, to say the least.
If they want us to negotiate as Somali people away from foreign intervention, then this is what the Somali president, the Islamic Scholars Association, and the Somali people are waiting for. We would like to confirm that the government is willing and ready for talks.
The Islamic Party has listed its conditions for holding a reconciliation dialogue with the government. The conditions as stated are the implementation of Islamic Sharia laws, revoking the constitution, and the withdrawal of foreign forces. The conditions are similar to those given by the Somali Islamic Scholar Association, which held a meeting in Mogadishu less than 2 months ago. The Islamic Scholars Association said the parliament must approve the implementation of Sharia laws within 3 months, and foreign forces must withdraw from the country within 4 months before opening a dialogue with the government.
We welcome this declaration. We think it's a goodwill gesture. We call upon all our brothers to follow suit and join reconciliation efforts and end the hostility.
Observers believe that the political blocs competing in the south are merely Islamic groups. And if they don't end their disagreement soon, other forces may emerge and replace them, thus removing the Islamists from the political spectrum, just like they were marginalized prior to 2006. Omar Mahmoud, Al Jazeera, Mogadishu.
أكد الحزب الإسلامي العراقي أن القبض على جميع المعتقلين الذين أفرجت عنهم.
The Iraqi Islamic Party said that the government decision to re-detain all prisoners released by the U.S. forces violates all constitutional and Sharia laws. The Islamic Party expressed shock over remarks that were issued by the spokesman of Iraq's rule of law security plan, Qasim Atta. Atta said that his command center has distributed the names and photos of all released prisoners to all checkpoints in order to detain them. The detainees were released over the past few months by the U.S. forces, and the decision to re-detain them was made without any consultation with the Iraqi government. The Islamic Party has called on the Iraqi National Assembly to summon and question the security officials involved in the case.
قرار الحكومة العراقية إعادة احتجاز المعتقلين الذين أطلقتهم القوات.
The Iraqi government's decision to re-detain all prisoners released by the U.S. forces has generated strong reactions both at the security and political levels as well as among the former detainees. Some Iraqis have expressed fear that the government's decision may lead to new human rights violations in Iraq. Meanwhile, the spokesman of the Iraqi security forces in Baghdad, Qasim Atta, said that his command center has distributed the names and photos of the released prisoners to all checkpoints in order to detain them.
بالقبض على جميع المعتقلين الذين أخرجتهم القوات الأمريكية من السجون خلال الأشهر القليلة.
Atta said that all prisoners released by the U.S. forces in the past few months will be detained without any consultation with the Iraqi government. At the same time, the security situation continues to deteriorate in many provinces throughout Iraq. The Iraqi capital, Baghdad, was hit by a series of bomb attacks, killing hundreds of Iraqi civilians and injuring hundreds of others.
عدد من المعتقلين السابقين شعروا بالصدمة من قرار الداخلية إعادتهم.
Meanwhile, the former detainees expressed shock over the decision of the Ministry of Interior to send back the prisoners. The vast majority of the freed detainees have spent 2.5 years in Buka prison without standing trial or charge. According to observers, the prisoners were released after they were cleared of criminal charges. So why are they being pursued by the authorities?
التحقيقات وعدم تورط المفرج عنهم بأي تهمة فلماذا يعاد اعتقالهم من جديد؟
Amidst this, the freed detainees have no choice but to escape from Iraq, join armed groups, or go back to jail where they could face years of incarceration. In another related development, several political blocs warned of further security deterioration if the Iraqi government doesn't overturn its decision regarding the freed detainees.
إلى ذلك حذرت كتل سياسية من تدهور الوضع الأمني بشكل كبير إذا أصرت الحكومة على تنفيذ قرارها القاضي بإعادة.
A member of the Iraq Parliament's Human Rights Commission, Shadila Al-Abusi, said that the High Judicial Council is currently reviewing the files of all the prisoners who were recently released by the U.S. forces.
تجرى من قبل لجنة القضاء الأعلى التي تتولى تدقيق ملفات المعتقلين المفرج عنهم.
Al-Abusi expressed shock over remarks that were made made by some Iraqi officials, who blamed the former detainees for the deterioration in the security situation.
Upon talking with the U.S. side, we were assured that the Iraqi High Judicial Council has reviewed the files of all detainees before they were released from prison. Hence, we were very surprised to hear these types of comments from some Iraqi officials. The bottom line is, if a detainee is facing a specific charge, he will not be released. We have received complaints confirming that some of the detainees, who were released recently from prison, were taken back into custody a day or two after their release. This is shocking. If the Iraqi government has any reports or evidence linking the detainees to terrorism, then we ask the government to provide the Iraqi Human Rights Commission with such evidence.
عن القائمة أسامة النجافي قال إن القوات الأمريكية أطلقت المعتقلين الذين لم يثبت تورطهم بأعمال إجرامية.
A member of the parliament, Osama al-Nujafi, said that the U.S. forces released the detainees who were not involved in criminal or terrorist acts, but did not free dangerous criminals. Al-Nujafi further said that if the Iraqi government goes ahead and detains the freed prisoners, it will cause irreparable damage to the security situation in the country.
على ما يبدو فإن على الحكومة أن تبحث في الأسباب الأخرى التي كانت وراء.
Al-Nujafi added that the Iraqi government should look into other reasons for the escalation of terrorist attacks, such as the interference of neighboring countries which seek to support armed militias using Iraq as a central front for their activities. With this decision, the Iraqi government has turned its back on the General Amnesty Initiative, which means that turning its back on the national consensus that the various political blocs are trying hard to achieve.
الذي تحرص المكونات السياسية على تحقيقه.
The crisis between Egypt and the Lebanese group Hezbollah has taken a turn for the worse. According to Egyptian sources, the investigation has revealed new confessions by Lebanese suspect Sami Shihab. In a confession, Shihab said that the group's plot was to hit targets on Egypt's internal front, and it had nothing to do with aiding the resistance in Gaza. Ahmad al-Kilani reports from Egypt.
A cloud of anger is persisting over the Egyptian capital, where a spy cell working for the Lebanese group Hezbollah was arrested. The cell was accused of smuggling arms and equipment into Gaza. The Egyptian authorities, who are still pursuing other spy agents in the Sinai Peninsula, accuse the cell of plotting to carry out hostile operations against Israeli tourists in Egypt. The investigation revealed new confessions, which were published by Egyptian newspapers, confirming that the suspects have successfully smuggled arms into Gaza. The investigation also revealed the group's operation in Egypt goes a few years back, which fueled more anger amongst the Egyptian public.
Part of the conspiracy goes back to the time when Hassan Nasrallah called on the Egyptian people to stand up against the Egyptian government and called on the army to topple the regime. Again, Hassan Nasrallah came out and said he is proud because he is aiding the resistance. This has provoked the Egyptians, people and government.
The latest news reports confirm that two suspects have confessed their affiliation to the Muslim Brotherhood group in Egypt. However, the Muslim Brotherhood strongly dismissed the reports and stated their position in the case.
We oppose military action on the national soil of any country, regardless of how noble the cause might be. This action in Egypt is noble because it supports the Palestinian resistance. However, it must be implemented in cooperation with the ruling regime of Egypt.
The arrest of the Hezbollah cell comes at a time when the relationship between Cairo and Tehran is deteriorating. The Egyptian authorities have revealed that two men working for an Iranian television station based in Cairo were implicated in the case. This suggests that the relationship between the two countries is turning for the worse. Ahmad al-Kilani, Dubai TV, Cairo.
Jordan said that anyone caught spying and providing information to the Hamas movement will spend time behind bars. This news comes after the Jordanian State Security Court sentenced 3 Jordanian men to serve 5 years of a 10-year sentence. The suspects were indicted on charges of conducting surveillance and photographing military sites, border posts, and the Israeli embassy in Amman. The suspects were also accused of gathering classified information that poses a threat to national security.
welcome to IBA News broadcasting from Jerusalem. Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad said today that Tehran has prepared a package to resolve its nuclear dispute with the world powers. In a televised speech, the Iranian president said the package would be offered to the West soon. However, Ahmadinejad also vowed that Iran will not allow the U.S. and its allies to impose their will on Tehran. He said Iran welcomes dialogue with the world powers, provided that it is based on justice and respect, and hinting that the West should not try to force it to halt its uranium enrichment program. Meanwhile, an official in Russia's state arms export service today denied that Russia supplied Iran with its advanced S-300 anti-aircraft missile systems. Interfax news agency quoted the official as saying that nothing is happening and that there are no deliveries. Any possible sale of the S-300 systems to Iran is a sensitive issue in Moscow's relations with Washington. Today's reports come in the wake of a March statement that Russia had signed a contract to sell S-300 air defense missiles to Iran, but that none of the weapons have been delivered. Hezbollah and its leader, Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah, will pay a heavy price for plotting terror attacks aimed at undermining Egypt's sovereignty. That according to an Egyptian official today in the state-run newspaper Al-Ahram. The official said Cairo has all the means and options to punish Hezbollah. The official continued to say that the investigation in Egypt has proven beyond doubt that Hezbollah was plotting to attack in Egypt with the aim of advancing Iran's interests in the region.
وعودة مشاهدينا الكرام إلى فلسطين حيث أصيب 38 مواطنا برصاص المستوطنين.
38 Palestinian citizens were injured after Israeli settlers opened fire on them. 15 other Palestinians were suffocated by tear gas bombs. 18-year-old Thaer al-Nasser is in critical condition after he was shot in the neck.
له عملية جراحية في مشفى الأهلي بالخليل وتم تحويله إلى مشفى رام الله الحكومي لمتابعة العلاج.
He underwent medical surgery in Al-Ahli Hospital in Hebron, and he was transferred to Ramallah Hospital for further medical care. Among the injured people who were transported to Hebron and Al-Ahli hospitals is Omar Qassab Abu Dia, who was injured with a bullet in his right thigh, Suhail Ahmed Abu Dia, whose foot was injured with a bullet, Muhammad Ahmed Ikhlil, whose left thigh was injured, and Wa'il Muhammad Ramadan Ikhlil, who was injured when settlers attacked Safa near the town of Betuna, north of Hebron. The residents of Safa said that the settlers opened fire on the village residents, causing a number of dangerous injuries.
عددا من الإصابات الخطيرة إثر إطلاق المستوطنين النار على سكان القرية.
Acts of sabotage and terror are business as usual for settlers. Recently, the residents of a neighborhood in Silwan in occupied Jerusalem were targeted with the policy of home demolition. Today, settlers attacked Safa near Beit Omar, north of Hebron.
خربة صافا القريبة من بلدة بيت أمر شمال الخليل.
When the soldiers got closer, they opened fire and used tear gas bombs. 7 citizens were injured, including 18-year-old Thaer Nasser, who was shot in his neck, and now he is undergoing a surgery in Al-Ahli Hospital.
As the sun started to rise, settlers began committing acts of terrorism. Palestinian citizens rushed to defend their land and property from confiscation and sabotage.
At 6:30 a.m., settlers attacked the village from the north and tried to enter it. People rushed to stop them and clashed violently with them in the northern area. The settlers were accompanied by Israeli soldiers who started shooting, causing serious injuries.
وصار إصابات تقريبا في إصابات خطيرة متوسطة.
عشرات الجرحى من أهالي قرية صافا أصيبوا بالنيران المستوطنين.
Tens of residents of Safa village were injured when settlers opened fire on them and their homes under the protection of the Israeli occupation forces, which accompanied and supported them. Ambulances were allowed in only after delays to transport the injured to hospitals, while some of the injuries were described as dangerous.
الجرحى ونقلهم إلى المشفى حيث وصفت بعض الحالات بالخطيرة.
The crimes and attacks of settlers came after the Likud party took office, but regardless of how reckless and provocative the Israeli settlers are, Palestinian will and defiance will only be strengthened. Ali Dar Ali, Palestine Television.
Prime Minister Salam Fayyad condemned the attacks by the extremist settlers against Palestinian citizens in Safa village, saying that these attacks are savage and renewed calls for international protection for Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank.
First of all, the presence of settlers on our occupied Palestinian land is illegal. Secondly, their illegal presence comes with acts of terror against our people. This is yet another reason why the Palestinian people need international protection on occupied Palestinian land in the West Bank and Gaza Strip.
Afghan men on one side, women on the other. Both have expressed what they believe to be their deserved civil rights. At the centre of the dispute is the newly introduced Shia family law. Opponents say that it takes women's rights back to the Dark Ages, but defenders of the law say it protects traditional ways within a modern framework. Todd Baer explains why a law that affects only a small minority of the Afghan population is stirring an international debate.
A demonstration over a new draft law that has not been published, but leaked contents have provoked international condemnation and a furious response from some Afghan women.
We do not want to allow culture to be used against our rights. Our rights are God-given, and therefore we actually ask for that law to be overturned completely.
The Afghanistan Constitution allows for the country's minority Shias to have a separate family law based on tradition. But the Constitution also requires equal rights for men and women. Critics say President Hamid Karzai signed the law to win votes and curry favor from powerful Shia clerics ahead of presidential elections scheduled for August. These mainly Shia women took to the streets demanding the law be changed or scrapped. They chanted and carried banners that said, "Being equal is our right," a protest that would have been unthinkable just 7 years ago. There is confusion about the detail of the law, but it is said to include a provision where women are required to submit to sex with their husbands every 4th day. The United Nations says the law is a throwback to the medieval policies of the Taliban. They say it legalizes rape within marriage.
We are not under the control of a man. We have our control on our body, we have control on our own mind, and we have to decide with ourselves what we can do and what we want.
As the women protested, a large group of men emerged from Kabul's main Shia mosque. They showed their support for the new law and chanted death to Western countries and enemies of Islam.
We are in the middle of this protest with a crowd of men off to my right side, a crowd estimated as twice as big as the crowd of women, which is off to my left side. So far, the protest has remained peaceful, but things are quickly spinning out of control with riot police in the middle.
A Saudi reading charity organization has organized a festival to encourage reading among children under the title, "The Nation That God Demanded to Read Will Continue to Read." The festival also tried to introduce appropriate methods to encourage reading among children. More details with Hassan Al-Tali'i.
With the objective of planting a love for reading in the heart of children when they are very young, The first reading festival was held under the title, "The Nation That God Demanded to Read Will Continue to Read." The festival was organized by al-Qura Women Charity Organization in the holy city of Mecca, with the objective of planting love for reading and libraries among our children, in the hope that reading would become more of an interesting hobby for them.
There are different kinds of reading, and we want to encourage all of them. We introduce children to stories and plays. We also encourage the entire family to read on a regular basis.
3 فئات استهدفها المهرجان.
The festival targeted 3 segments of the Saudi population: the children who are not old enough to go to elementary schools, young girls, and parents.
حيث جمعهم المهرجان على مدى 14 يوما.
They were all gathered at the 14-day festival and were introduced to pages from different books and magazines with simple words and interesting images.
كلمات بسيطة ورسومات شيقة.
نحتاج جدا أن تكون الرسالة أولا في المدرسة.
It is important that reading is encouraged at schools. Of course, reading should also be encouraged at home, but for children to read, the mother must also read. As a mother, I must use all possible ways to make my child like reading. We do not have sufficient public libraries. Children should be able to go to public libraries with their families and choose the books they like.
سباق بالألوان عاشه هؤلاء الأطفال في نقل ما وقعت عليه أعينهم من كلمات.
These children were taken into colorful worlds as their eyes surveyed different drawings designed to stimulate their imagination.
عينهم في عالم خاص بهم. ما جعل تلك الرسومات تعانق جدران جمع.
This explains why such colorful drawings that takes children deep into the world of different stories can be found on the walls of al-Qura building. Even the logo of Arabiya television was used to test children's awareness of what is happening around them.
لتجسيد معرفتهم أكثر بكل ما يدور حولهم.
I learned cooperation, friendship, and brotherhood. Everyone at the festival found something they liked and learned something.
I benefited from this festival because I learned how to draw and I read stories, which helped strengthen my memory. The festival benefited us in many ways.
The
14-day reading festival helped children and their families develop new ideas. Many children now feel that their life can become more beautiful with good books. From the holy city of Mecca, Hassan al-Tali'i, Al-Arabiya.
Get more news about the Middle East online at linktv.org/Mosaic. The Mosaic webpage offers a complete archive of Mosaic programs, program transcripts, the Mosaic video podcast, and the Mosaic Intelligence Report, a weekly analysis of the hottest stories from the Middle East. The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible with the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs which connect you to the world.